Hey, everybody, surprise! Here we are, and it's Sunday.
Yep.
I mean, it was just such a boring day today, and...
Yeah, and we saw an extra movie, so we're going to go ahead and do an extra movie review.
Yeah, so we figured we would just jump on at, like, a weird time.
Yeah.
Whenever we were ready to do it and, like, talk about it, just because we went to the movie theater yesterday and saw this. So.
Yeah, we saw this movie. It was Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
And it was epic. It's awesome.
This is a fucking great movie. It's a great movie.
Yeah. I think this might be the best Godzilla movie.
I mean, this one and maybe the best one since the original for sure. And well, like I said, I've seen a lot of Godzilla movies, but I haven't seen them all. I'm not like a Godzilla fangirl or anything. How many have they made? I think they've all together. There's 37 Godzilla movies. 33 of them made by Toho.
Yeah.
So
I've seen the American ones with Kong. They're okay.
Yeah.
I don't really consider that to be Godzilla though. I mean, there's something about the way it looks. It's just not quite right. This looks like Godzilla. And
even the Japanese ones have gone through eras, you know what
eras.
I mean? So I feel like where they do reboots and different looks and stuff.
Yeah. The newest one before this was Shin Godzilla. That was Japanese. It was from last year. And mixed reviews from what I heard. It was like,
I think a lot of people liked Shin Godzilla. I thought it was older than that though. I thought it was from like 2017 or
maybe you're right.
Something like that. I'm not entirely sure though. Because I think there was another one I don't know. I feel like this one was kind of inspired by... This one's inspired by the original 1954 Godzilla, for sure.
Yeah, it's a horror movie. Starts off as a horror movie. Damn. And it's in World War II. That's when it starts.
Which I love.
Yeah, it's the Japanese, man. These are all Japanese.
Yeah, it's all set in the 40s.
Yep.
1945 to 1947, I think, is the span of the movie.
There's very little English in it. It's all Japanese guys. It's all period. It looks correct.
Thank God it's not dubbed.
It's not dubbed. It's subtitled.
Thank fuck. I hate dubbing.
Yeah. And it starts off with some mechanics, aircraft mechanics out on this little bitty island, and a kamikaze pilot who his plane's there. They're working on it. He evidently had to ditch. The plane wasn't working right, so he ditched.
No, his plane was working perfectly.
Yeah, but that's not what he told them.
But he told them that it was
right. I mean, that's a spoiler, though.
No, it's not. They say that in all the reviews. This happens like in the first couple minutes of the movie.
Yeah, if it turns out there was nothing wrong with the plane. He said there was something wrong with the plane, so he didn't have to go on a kamikaze mission.
Yeah, which you can't blame the guy.
While he was there, they got at night. They heard something, a bunch of noise, and this monster comes out of the ocean. And some of the Japanese mechanics knew what it was. They said, "Yeah, the locals have been talking about this thing. They call it Godzilla." And they tried to shoot. They tried to hide from it at first, but then it walked up on them, and they shot it, and it attacked, and it destroyed a bunch of stuff. And the kamikaze pilot, they asked him to get into the plane and maybe shoot it with 20mm guns that was on his kamikaze plane. But that should kill it. Now he freezes though. He doesn't pull the trigger. He got too scared. He was kind of a coward. And he's the main character for the rest of the movie. Because he didn't pull that trigger, that Godzilla killed all those dudes. They didn't go home. And he kind of felt like because he didn't go on his kamikaze mission, Japan lost the war. So he's trying to overcome his basically feelings of fucking being a coward by confronting Godzilla when Godzilla finally shows up in Japan. It's a good flick, man. It's good. It has a lot.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It was like I had heard that it was just I didn't watch or read any reviews prior to it, but I had just heard kind of just generally that it's like, oh my god, this is like an amazing Godzilla. It's got like all the critics love it. It's just all the audiences love it, and I was just kind of like, so I don't know. I'm just gonna add to that chorus though because I thought this was a great fucking movie. And like I said, I'm not a Godzilla fangirl or anything like that. Like I like Godzilla movies, but.
They're also goofy.
I could take them or leave them.
Yeah, they're goofy.
But this one, I liked this one because, much like the original 1954 movie, it took it seriously. And this is going back to the original idea of Godzilla as a manifestation of the atomic bomb.
Yeah, and it's a monster.
And and he's scary.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, in a lot of Godzilla movies, he's not really scary. And he's a part of the reason that he's scary, well, he's just scary anyway. But part of the reason that he's scary is because you actually give a shit about the human characters, which is something that I think a lot of Godzilla movies struggle with.
Yeah.
Because most of the time you're just kind of like, I just want to see Godzilla step on people and like knock buildings down and shit. But this one, I didn't really want to see that. Like I did, but I didn't want the people to get killed.
Yeah, they're showing the Japanese people running from this thing, and they're just regular people.
And you're like, no,
civilians, and it's crushing
it's
them.
awful.
Yeah, it's killing people. But it has everything you come to expect from a Godzilla movie. Based on the very first one, it's got a mad scientist.
He was my favorite. He was my favorite character.
Yeah,
actually.
he's trying to figure out how to defeat.
I loved that guy.
Godzilla, brave naval captains, ex-military guys, dude trying to become a family man, loyal, brave woman.
Adorable child.
Yeah, it's got a little cute kid in it.
Not a Kenny.
No, he's not a Kenny like
She's not a Kenny.
Yeah, but there's a lot of real positive messaging in it about loss, how to recover from loss, how to be a man. It has that in there. That shit isn't perfect, the how to be a little selfless,
Yeah.
It has a lot to do with it.
How to let things go.
Yeah.
Like, don't let things fuck you up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, good messages about patriotism and everybody pulling together. Not being dependent. See, unlike other Godzilla movies, the government couldn't do shit. It was the people that were fighting Godzilla. It was a private organization they put together real rapidly out of
ex-military guys.
Ex-military guys.
Yeah.
Because the government couldn't help, and America couldn't help.
Because the war was just over.
Yeah.
And so there was all these reasons that they couldn't.
Yeah, America couldn't go down in there with force to fight Godzilla because the tensions with the Soviets. The Soviets fucking prevented that. And the Japanese government really couldn't be depended on. They didn't really have anything, so the people had to do it. Which that was kind of a cool message. Like, that was, don't let others solve your problem. You got to fucking solve the problem, And they rise up to solve the problem, and they eventually, you don't know if they overcome it. Doesn't seem like Godzilla was destroyed. He would temporarily put at bay, but it looks like he survived. Now, there's some differences with this one versus the other ones. They kind of explain why Godzilla is impervious to things like tanks and shit. You can blow a hole in him, you can basically kill him. He just grows right back. He heals up.
He regenerates.
Seconds. Yeah, he regenerates.
Like a lizard growing a tail back,
Yeah.
I guess is kind of where they were getting that idea.
Yeah, but it's fast enough where you can watch it happening. And he'll have scars there, but then that'll kind of fade too. Another thing is that you can definitely hear the Japanese actors calling him Godzilla.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
That's not his name in Japanese. His name is Gojira.
Yeah.
With a J. Gojira. But for some reason they said, okay, we're going to call him with a Z, Godzilla. Which that's okay. I guess
Maybe
it's a
with
nod
a view to international markets, I guess.
Nod to the international market. His real name is Gojira. It's an excellent flick. And when we were walking out of there was an old guy in front of me, must have been about 70, with his wife, and he goes, that movie was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It's a serious flick.
It is.
It's
not flick. like there's monster shenanigans and monster destruction. Like, you do get to see Godzilla stepping on shit and knocking shit over in Tokyo and coming up out of the ocean and fucking up battleships and shit like that. You get to see him doing that, but it's actually a really serious, and I've seen a couple reviewers say this, it's like, this movie is so good that you could even take the Godzilla shit out of it and it would still be good.
Yeah.
Because all of because the character drama is so compelling, which you can't really say about a lot of Godzilla movies. Because even some of the ones that I thought were good, that were real epic and had really cool monster fights and shit like that, you didn't really give a crap about the humans.
Yeah.
This one you absolutely do. You really don't want to see any of the characters get killed. There's a lot of emotional resonance. Really, the only criticism I've ever seen of this are people being like, well, I don't want to see all these people with the character drama and all that other kind of stuff. I just want to see Godzilla stepping on people and blah, blah, blah. But it's I've seen a couple of dudes say that kind of crap, but really...
No, that's not what this movie is. That's not
no.
This differentiates all the this is a very different kind of movie. It's not like a normal Godzilla movie where Godzilla's the main character and the humans are just bit parts, and they're just filler for the for
they're
the
just
action
like
scenes.
monster fodder.
Yeah,
To
they're
get
not
stepped on and eaten and whatnot.
they struck a happy balance where Godzilla was his own character and he was doing cool shit, and he does a lot of cool shit in it. He's scary because he's not protecting Japan like in most of the Godzilla movies. He's fucking Japan up
Big time.
and and the characters that are trying to stop him and are you know them and you like them and you know their motivations of why they're trying to stop this thing, and you care about them if they get killed, so it's a good balance. It's not like I remember in some of the old Godzilla movies, as soon as it started talking about most of the scenes in a classic Godzilla movie are a bunch of Japanese guys in suits in an office in a big fucking at the top of some building, all telling each other what to do.
Right.
That's what
They're planning what they're going to do.
right.
Like,
Which was in the 50s. That was like the American equivalent of dudes talking on the telephone, or they're in the office talking on the telephone.
talking about the monster threat and what they're going to do about
and what
it.
they're going to do about it.
Sure.
There's a lot of that.
A lot of 50s.
Or shots of somebody arriving and departing in a car. A lot of that was in old American
They're
movies.
trying to stretch
A lot
it
of
out
driving.
to like feature length. That's
Yeah,
what they
yeah.
were trying to do there. They didn't have a big budget.
So, but this one's done right. Definitely, it's a hit. It's evidently doing well in every market that it's in, and it's only being played in certain theaters. Our AMC had it. And
I mean, if our AMC in dinky ass Leesburg had it, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's like pretty
you
wide
can find
release.
it. You can find it
Because
and people
it's-
came out to see it.
Yeah, we went yesterday afternoon at like the 1:15 show,
Yeah, and there was a lot of people.
and there was a lot of people in there.
Yeah, so there was no promotion for this. It's all word of mouth.
It did get a big premiere in LA,
Okay.
as far as I know. But I think I don't know if they're like rolling it out slowly, like limited, or if it's wide release now. Like I said, if it's at the AMC in Leesburg, I imagine it's probably widespread
Probably opening
now.
it up because it's making money.
And you
Everybody
know what
likes
is amazing to me is that this movie cost $15 million.
Yeah.
$15 million.
It's nothing.
And it looks
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, it looks better than a Hollywood.
I mean, the
big
last
budget.
Godzilla movies that they made in, what do they call that, the Monsterverse, right?
Yeah, they're like 200 million.
Yeah, they're like 160, 170, $200 million. And it's
Yeah.
like, they looked cool and everything like that, but this one looked just as good, I
Yeah.
thought. And it
then-
cost like a tenth of the that was a tenth of the money.
Here's the thing about the American ones. That goes with the Kong one too. I like Skull Island, Kong Skull Island of them all.
Yeah, I did too, actually. I
thought
think that was
like
probably the best one.
I remembered the most of that one. The other ones were totally forgettable. I enjoyed watching them, but then when they were over, I couldn't tell you what happened.
Yeah.
They're not very interesting. They're just spectacles, This is an interesting movie. It's basically Jaws. Part of the movie is Jaws. Dudes in a rinky-dink ship fighting something that's much bigger than Jaws. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
there's
that's-
a lot of shit that's like taken out of Jaws.
Because that's kind of like one of the plot points.
Yeah.
Like after the main character, whose name is Koichi, by the way, when he comes back from the war, and he's kind of like, he comes back and he has to live in this slum because the whole city's been decimated or whatever.
Yeah, burned down.
And he takes a job as like essentially like a minesweeper.
Yeah,
they're going and getting rid of all the mines
All
after
the
the
old
war.
mines from the war, yeah.
And that's where he meets like his little gang of friends, which is
Yeah.
also great. I like that they have like the family thing, like where he
Yeah.
just ends up
Finding a baby.
with this woman
Yeah.
and this baby. The baby's
Yeah.
not hers,
No.
but everybody got killed, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So she kind of just adopted this baby.
And most people were just abandoning babies
Right.
at this time.
And so she just kind of like
Yeah.
moves in with his house because he feels bad for her.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of end up shacking up or whatever. So it's just kind of like this little ersatz family that they thing. And then he has like these 3 buddies that he's doing this like really risky job with.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how they
Yeah.
come in contact with Godzilla. He's the only one that saw it previous to it because it was
Yeah.
smaller.
Yeah,
The
it
first time he
wasn't-
saw
it
it, it
wasn't a
got
full-
bigger like later.
Yeah, when you first see Godzilla,
Like on the island.
he's not full size.
Right.
Evidently, I was watching, I think Midnight's Edge, or one of the guys from Midnight's Edge, another channel, the great channel. he was under the impression that when the first time you see Godzilla, it's that he's in his unmutated form.
That's what I thought.
That he's natural.
Right.
But he got mutated later and got
Yeah.
bigger, and he changed a little bit the way he looked.
Yeah, I thought that implied that.
He developed a lot of special abilities like that damn
The heat ray, they
heat
call
ray
it
breath,
in the movie.
but it makes an atomic bomb.
Yeah, like a
when it hits.
mushroom cloud
Yeah,
kind
it
of shit.
explodes. It's fucking badass. And he had to get really pissed for him to unleash that. You know,
And he's like,
see
powers
powering
up.
and get really, yeah. And he shoots it. And there's like a recharge time. He can't do it all the time.
I love it.
But when you first see it, it's not that big, really. It's the size of a dinosaur.
Yeah, like it's big. You would shit your pants if you saw it, but it's not.
It's nowhere near as big as.
Yeah, when you see it later on and it comes out of the water, you're like, fuck.
Yeah. And it swims real well.
Yeah.
And then there's some things that they look like little fish. People were saying they were calling them fish, the dead fish coming up. But I looked at them, man. They didn't look like fish. They looked like sperm cells. Looked like a
No, they were definitely fish.
I'm looking at that. It looked like because they
No.
showed it, man, and it looked like
They were fish.
it looked like a foot long or 8-inch long sperm cell.
I thought
he was spawning in there.
No. That
Okay.
doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Okay.
One of the things you knew that one of the ways that you knew Godzilla was coming was that all the deep sea fish, like all these dead deep sea fish, would rise to the top.
Okay.
So they're either weird looking fish from the deep sea or they're fish that went through decompression when they came up really fast, is why they looked weird like that.
Okay. But I'm trying to think. Another thing that's interesting about the movie is that there's the guys on Midnight Edge said that this was basically practical effects that had been enhanced with CG. Godzilla doesn't look like the American Godzilla, thankfully. It looks like the Toho. This is a Toho movie. It looks like Toho Godzilla suit. That's what it looks like. But a lot better.
But like a lot better.
A lot better.
I like that they kind of homaged the man in the suit look, but still made it look like a real creature, if that makes
It has
any
huge
sense.
feet, just like in the Toho movies. It can't lift its feet up very far, so it just crushes everything as it goes.
Oopsie, sorry, stepped in there.
It's real bottom heavy. It's got big old fat legs on it, just like the old movies. Now they were saying that it's a suit. That's what you're seeing. It's just most of the time it's a suit or a puppet, and it's performing in miniatures. Evidently, the buildings are miniatures.
It
But then
very
they
well
use
may
CG
be.
to kind of enhance
Right.
it. That's.
I
what they
did
said.
see a little bit of behind the scenes footage though, where they were constructing the monster in, like a 3D modeling program.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure, with the wireframe and everything.
They were saying it was a mix.
So it's it probably is. I kind of feel like
Because there's some shots where the boat is trying to get away from it, and Godzilla's head's behind it, coming up out of the water. It's like straight out of Jaws. And its head looks fucking badass. It looks like the old Godzilla, which to me, Godzilla's face always looked like a cat. It
does
look
look
It didn't look like a lizard. It looks like a fucking evil cat, really. A cat lizard. That's the only way I can describe it. But it has the eyes and everything. And what was funny is that it didn't blink.
Yeah, that's right. I
It
never
didn't
noticed
blink.
that.
And it doesn't blink, I think, in the old Godzilla movies. I think it made it blink later. But they never once showed it.
I guess
blink.
maybe when it was a guy in a suit, they were
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, that's too much trouble." Like,
Yeah,
made it blink. No one's gonna notice.
It blinked
Probably not.
So to homage that, they never showed it blinking.
So, well, and what you were saying about Jaws, like the writer, director, and visual effects guy on this, who are all the same person, by the way, whose name is Takashi Yamakaze. He cited Jaws as one of the inspirations for this film.
I could see it, yeah.
And yeah, particularly the sequences where they're out on the little minesweeping boat.
Yeah.
And they get sent out on this mission, and because all these American battleships have been fucked up.
Yeah.
And they are like, "Hey, go out there and see if you can see what's
Godzilla's
going
big
on
enough
with
to
it."
throw a destroyer. They show a damn
Yes.
destroyer going through the air and hit.
It's crazy.
Oh, it looks good. Yeah.
It does look
The guys
good.
are on the ship watching it go through the air.
Oh
and then
shit!
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're going, "Oh fuck."
I think I said "oh shit" in the theater too
Yeah.
when I saw that.
Now, towards the end of the movie, there's the big main effort to defeat Godzilla. They launch it, and the kamikaze pilot, he's able to get his hands on an experimental aircraft that actually did exist in Japan called a Shinden. And so he had a Shinden. It was, but basically it was a backwards propeller plane. It had a big wing in the back, a pusher prop in the back, pointed fuselage, and a little canards in the front. And it always looked like it's flying backwards. But that was a real plane. We were working on a jet version of it too, but he's got the propeller version. They got guns on it, and they've smuggled a bomb in it. And there's some other shit, but I don't want to spoil everything. But he wants to fly around this thing and bait Godzilla into the kill zone, basically, where they're gonna. I'm not gonna tell you what the plan is either.
It's a good plan.
And then he's got a bomb in the nose. They especially his buddies, who were the mechanics that he met when
the
they
one
first saw
mechanic
Godzilla.
that was
one
left.
of them, and then his friend,
because he was the only dude that was left
that survived seeing Godzilla. So they knew they'd seen Godzilla before. They had a bomb. He mounted a bomb in the nose, and he was gonna ram it down Godzilla's throat. But I ain't gonna spoil how it happens. Shit, it's good. It's pretty cool. It's kind of left open. The you're not sure what. It's obvious to me if you know the series that Gojira survives it.
Well, yeah, because you can't have a Godzilla movie where you like kill Godzilla at the end. You know what I mean? Because he's got to come back.
No, it's called Godzilla -1. I didn't know what it meant, but I did. The guys on Midnight's Edge knew what it meant. In Japanese culture, after they lost the war against the United States, they would say that they were starting from zero.
Yeah.
That Japan started from zero. Well, this is before even starting from zero.
Or they're starting at even more of a disadvantage.
-1, yeah.
That's why it's called -1.
-1, yeah.
Well, see, I think that's why, because, okay, so the original Godzilla, which came out in 1954, was very much concerned with, like, the atomic bomb and all that kind of stuff. So I like that they went back to that theme. And I think it was genius to set this movie right after the end of World War II, when Japan's still all fucked up. They're still trying to rebuild everything. Everyone's tired. Everybody's, relatives, everybody knows people that have loved ones that have been killed. And it's just kind of like all this bad shit happens to them. They're living in these horrible conditions.
And it's taken place over several years.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 years. I think it's like a 2-year time span.
It starts during the war.
At the tail end.
At the tail end of it. But then it goes probably like 5 years.
I think it goes up to 1947 or 1948 maybe.
Okay. So about 3 years.
But yeah, because I'm going by how old the kid was, and I think they do show like markers, like when it is, and I remember seeing 1947. I don't remember after that.
That makes the movie a lot more realistic. In an old Godzilla movie, it's all happening now.
Yeah.
So they get all this shit together in fucking 2 days.
This is over like a time span.
Yeah, over 30 years.
But see, I think it was like a great idea because it's like, so Japan they're all fucked up. They're like, we survived, and we just want to like, pick up the pieces, basically, and try to put our lives back together. And then all of a sudden, this big giant fucking lizard is, steaming toward Tokyo, and they have to do something about it. And so the government can't do anything. They are all fucked up. It's like the U.S. can't do anything. Nobody can do anything for them. And so, like, all of these ex-military, like, all of this, it's kind of a populist movie in the sense that they're all just kind of like, well, we're the only ones that can do anything. And I like that, like, some of the dudes were like, yeah, fuck that. It's like, we just survived the war. All my family are dead. It's like, I'm not doing it. And you can understand, like, why people would think that.
They would have died anyway, though, had they not tried. That's another thing. That's one thing they didn't consider. Well, if we do nothing, we're going to die anyway.
But I'm sure that did occur to them. But they were like, I'll probably take my chances. You know what I mean? But yeah. So I like that there was this theme of not only redemption for like the main character, because like I said, he did some kind of fucked up shit at the beginning that he felt was like dishonorable, and he got shit on because of that. But as it went on, you kind of saw these people just like all trying to pull together like for the greater good, because they knew that no one else was going to help them, and they knew that if they didn't do something, then nobody else was going to do anything, and they were all going to get fucked up. You know what I mean? So I thought it was like a really good, I don't know, I just thought that was a really good idea to set this during that specific time period, because it really gave it a lot more I don't know, like it gave it a lot more like of an emotional core, I guess, because you could just feel all of these military veterans and stuff like that. They were just like, man, we're fucking over this shit. You know what I mean? They just went through a war. They were all messed up. And it's just kind of like, and now we have to deal with this shit. You know, and they just didn't want to do it. Like, you know what I mean? So I really liked that aspect of it. You know, I thought that was a good, like, for dramatic purposes, I thought that was a really good conflict to introduce.
What other films did we see this year?
What other films do we see this year?
Yeah.
Not in the theater?
In the theater.
We saw Voyage of the Demeter. I remember seeing that one.
Yeah.
What was the did we see a Tom Cruise movie this year, or was that last year?
Yeah, we saw Mission Impossible.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'd probably put this above Mission Impossible, actually.
Yeah, I think I liked this better than Mission. I liked that Mission Impossible movie, but
they're different.
I think I liked this one better.
This is one of the better ones of this year.
And so pretty much that's every other review of this that I've seen, like other movies reviewing sites that I subscribe to or channels. Pretty much everybody's saying that this is easily one of their favorite movies of the year.
Hugo says he got split because there's spoilers. He's gonna see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we understand.
Andy said, "Are you guys going to do a reaction to the Fallout TV show teaser?" I have not seen it.
Haven't seen it yet.
I didn't even know they were making that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go look that up now. I don't know. We don't usually do reaction videos because we're not on the ball. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Just off the top of my head, if they're going to do a Fallout television show, it's going to be bad, probably.
I don't know.
I'm going to default towards going to suck. They tend to fuck video game stuff up pretty bad. We'll have to see. You know, I'll wait for somebody else to watch it, and I'll get feedback off of it before I bother with it.
That's kind of usually what I. But to be honest, it's like okay. So this movie, I didn't even know that there was a Godzilla movie coming out. Well, it's not like I don't really keep up. You know what I mean? I keep up with horror movies, but that's
I only heard about this 2 days ago.
But yeah, so I just heard about it from Tom, and he's like, "Oh, we should go to the theater and see that because it's playing here." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." You know what I mean? Like I like Godzilla movies. Okay, they're fine. But I was actually surprised by how much I really liked this one. I thought this was like a great, like I said, even if Godzilla needs to be in it because he's like a really good part of it. But I like that they didn't skimp on the other parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, all the Godzilla shit is like super epic and everything, but all the human stuff is really, really good too.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that this is maybe the only Godzilla movie I've seen other than the original one that took care with the characters and made like a whole story arc for all these characters that you gave a shit about.
The original Godzilla movie from the 50s, when I saw it as a kid, scared me. It was like a horror movie. It has a tone like that.
Yeah.
This movie has that same tone. It's better. But it's a kind of a remake of that movie in some ways. They're going to try to recapture what that original was. And I say, they succeeded.
Yeah, I think that was a great idea.
Yeah, I think it kind of topped the original. But it's right up there with the original. It's not shitting on the original. It actually took the best stuff from the original, and then they even improved on it. And they even homaged the fucking score. All the dramatic fucking score when you first see Gojira or Godzilla. Shit, that sounded like it was right from the original movie.
And I like too that they didn't, and I noticed this when I was watching the movie. Most of the movie doesn't have a score.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't. It just
it
comes
really
in when
only
you see Godzilla.
it comes in like when there's like real dramatic shit happening, but the rest of the time there wasn't any. Which actually I did notice that.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of the quieter scenes when it's just like characters talking and stuff like that, like dramatic scenes, they don't have any
It feels
score.
authentic as shit too. I mean, just because it's all Japanese language. Good Japanese acting. I mean, they're taking the shit seriously. The costumes, the settings, it's the vehicles, everything. It's 40s, and it takes you back to that time. Even though I never lived in Japan in the 40s, it looks like that's what it's taking place,
Yeah.
And there's a great scene where Godzilla's fucking downtown. It wasn't Tokyo. I forgot what city it was.
Ginza,
that's right. They're downtown in Ginza, and on top of the building is a Japanese news reporting team.
Yeah.
And the Japanese reporter, man, he's trying to. Actually, it wasn't television, it was radio, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He's doing his radio broadcast from the top, describing to the Japanese people what the fuck is happening, Godzilla's right next to our beloved, what was that? Something or
It
other.
was some theater or
Theater,
something.
And then he's destroying it and shit. And he's watching it from the top of the building and shit. And Godzilla comes and fucking knocks that building over and they fall and they show him fucking sliding and falling and dying and shit. It was fucking good, man. It was good. It was straight out of the Hindenburg film broadcast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what they were
broadcast
homaging.
of the guy, the humanity, the humanity. Like that shit as the fucking God is the fucking
Hindenburg blew up, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. They nailed it. That was a great scene.
But the thing about
it, epic flick.
Because Tammy was saying Son of Godzilla was a comedy. Yeah, and I feel like there have been a lot of comedic. Well, I mean, look at all the Godzilla movies that had Minya in them. You know what I mean?
Baby Godzilla.
Bit like Baby Godzilla.
Yeah.
And I just kind of feel like they kind of for a time went for like, oh, it's Godzilla, it's like a kids movie.
Yeah, and he's protecting Japan. He's good. He can even dance.
That's like some Gamera
jump
shit.
Around,
Right.
Yeah. They went for the kids.
Right. And I this is very much not a kids movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's not really much humor in it. It's it's very focused on the aftermath of World War II and like how fucking horrible these people's lives are and shit like that. And now now here comes Godzilla like to step on them and they have to do something about that. And they're just like, man, why the fuck? After all of this. So, you know what I mean? So I like that there's like a little bit like moments of levity in it, but there's not really any comedy in it, which I actually really appreciated. They really do take it seriously. This is a serious monster. It's a serious threat.
Yeah.
They're not making a joke out of it.
No.
They're just like, oh, fuck. Like, here comes this fucking gigantic.
Well, they let you know that this is going to be a horror movie and it's serious right off the bat.
Yeah.
On the damn island. When unmutated Godzilla in his natural form he's bigger than a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but basically that's what you're dealing with.
But he's not as big as
and he kills a bunch of people.
Right.
And it's pretty brutal. It's cool.
Yeah, he's just flinging people out.
Yeah. And the kamikaze pilot, he had a damn PTSD behind that. Kept. And then later on, when he was doing the minesweeping job, he sees it again, and it's bigger. Yeah, so it's pretty good.
And he's shitting
He told him what it was. He said, I know what that is. I've seen that before.
Yeah,
that's
except that's way bigger than last time I saw it,
Yeah,
like 2 years ago or whatever it was.
Right.
So it grew like to a much bigger size, like in the interim. Andy says Amazon Studios is making it the Fallout show. It's coming out April 12th, 2024. As a huge Fallout fan, I watched it with low expectations, but was pleasantly surprised. They
have a way of ruining things, especially when it comes to video game movies. We'll see. I mean, if it's actual fans of the show or fans of the movie of the video game, maybe you'll have something there. But chances are, it's been purchased by a company that, and they're going to try to fucking put their message across. They're just going to use that as a vehicle. That's probably what it's going to be, because that's usually what it is. That's usually how they do it. So I wouldn't get your hopes up. When it comes to any of these modern series, I'd start the ball real low. I wouldn't expect much. Now, if it comes out good, then you're lucky. And then if it stays good, you're lucky. Or it'll go the way Mandalorian did, where only the first 2 seasons were any good. They have a way of fucking shit up.
Andy also says, World War II and Godzilla is such an interesting combination. It does sound intriguing. Yeah, I really liked, like I said, I didn't really know anything about this movie other than it was a Godzilla movie, like before we went to it. So I wasn't aware that it was like set after World War II. But while I was watching it, I was sitting there going, man, this was a fucking genius idea. Like putting Godzilla in this context. Yeah. It just worked really, really well.
Yeah. They were out on these little islands. And it was something that what the Japanese called the primitives knew about it. Kind of like Kong on Skull Island. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, they didn't go super into it, but they did imply that.
They just implied
that the natives on this. It was Odo Island, was what it was, where these mechanics were.
Yeah, he says the natives called that thing Godzilla.
They had seen it before. They knew what it was.
They've been talking about that thing.
But this was the first time that it had come up out of the water.
It was, and of course, it was nowhere near as big as it gets, but it was still pretty big. It's bigger than a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, because there's just kind of like, I would even call that sort of like a prologue, like that happens on Odo Island, where that monster attack happens when Godzilla's still relatively small, and then there's like, then it jumps ahead, you know what I mean? And then there's like a long sequence that's just kind of focused on the human characters before Godzilla comes back out again, and he's like way bigger like that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, so big that he comes out and he can just fuck up like a battleship and stuff.
Yeah, and he could have destroyed it. Its head went right in front of the cannons. And he didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
He froze up, and that was before the mutation happened, so it wouldn't have healed up. He would have killed it.
Right.
So he felt survivor's guilt and guilt for that because that thing ended up killing everybody on the damn island, or all his friends on the island, Japanese guys.
Yeah. Yeah, so he just like carries that burden like
Yeah.
for the rest of because he just like feels like a loser. And then like
Yeah.
obviously because he was a kamikaze and he didn't go through with his
Yeah, they said
because
he came back
he
alive.
he
Yeah.
chickened out.
Yeah.
So when he gets back to where he was, like this few surviving people are like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, that's dishonorable, and they were like, you're a
Yeah.
piece of shit, you're a coward.
Right.
Like we lost the war because of people like you.
Right.
So he wasn't having a good time. So
Yeah.
he was really not feeling good when he
Yeah.
came back. And
The
then
Japanese civilians didn't know. They didn't know the details of the war. If you actually look at the numbers, they had no chance. They had no chance of making it. I once saw a bravery wasn't enough. I once saw a damn graphic illustration of the amount of support equipment behind a Japanese fighting man and behind the American fighting man, of how much equipment was behind his effort. For every one Japanese soldier, there's really only a couple 100 pounds of material behind him in support. For every American soldier in the Pacific Theater, there was like 30 tons of fucking support material behind him, just in the weight of the ships and tanks and ammo and food, you know. It was a David and Goliath type situation. Now worse, it was, you know, they were pipsqueaks. They had, reason why they lost, I'm cutting off story, but they lost because they had victory disease. They'd been winning against China for so long, they thought they knew what they were doing, but they had never fought against an industrial power that could just make ships and tanks like they were nothing. You know, by the time they realized what it was like fighting American soldiers in the American army, it was kind of too late. But they tried to build a new army, and a new navy, but it would never be ready in time.
well, to me, like while I was watching the movie, and this actually occurred to me while I was watching the movie, I said, I think that's what makes this even more emotionally resonant to me, because when Koichi, the main character, when he comes back to, you know, his decimated hometown and everybody's dead, like the few people that are remaining are like, yeah, we lost the war because of cowards like you. Everybody, and I think that the director was saying, well, everybody in the audience knows that's not true. It wouldn't have made any difference.
Wouldn't have made any difference.
But
Yeah.
he's still being made to feel like that, and he still feels like that, even though it probably wouldn't have made any difference. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is, like, even if he had been able to shoot Godzilla in the plane, that might not have killed it. You know what I mean? It might have, but it might not have. So it's just kind of, so he's like beating himself up for stuff that might not have made any difference in the long run, which to me made it like even sadder.
20 millimeter would have handled that. I know what 20 millimeter would do, and that thing was not.
Well,
that,
yeah, because it wasn't
wouldn't have-
its main size.
Yeah, it wouldn't have done anything to fucking mutated Godzilla, but its original.
Yeah, he might have got
Yeah,
it. So,
yeah, it
yeah,
would've
so maybe
blown
he
the
should have felt bad about that.
Yeah, it
because,
would have blown
he
its
did
head
fuck it.
off.
But the whole thing about him not going through this kamikaze mission and people being like, yeah, we lost the war because of you. Like, not because of you specifically, but because
Yeah.
of cowardice. And it's
Yeah.
just like, I don't really think that would have made any
No.
difference. Like, if he
No.
had gone on his kamikaze mission, I don't think it would have made
They hit
an iota of difference.
They hit the American Navy with as many kamikaze attacks as they could muster, and it didn't make a difference. It did damage, but there's just too many ships.
Yeah, that's what I mean. In the
Yeah.
long run,
It wouldn't have made any difference. It just delayed it for a few months.
but like I said, that's what
Yeah.
made him kind of like a tragic character,
Yeah,
was
he's getting
because
blamed for something
he
that
was
wasn't-
getting blamed for that.
Yeah.
Well, he was blaming himself for it, for not going through with it because he was a coward,
Yeah.
even though it wouldn't have made a difference. So I think like as the movie goes on, they kind of address that a little
Yeah.
bit, where it's like, you know, we're expecting these young men to go and
Yeah.
like kill themselves, do this, and it probably wouldn't have made any difference in the long run.
Well, the message that lets the audience know that the Japanese were wrong about the kamikazes making a difference is the inclusion of something in the story called an ejection seat.
Yeah.
In which, when you see the movie, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The kamikaze attacks would have only just delayed the inevitable a few months. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
So really, he would have died for nothing. It was better that he lived.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that to me that
His
made
parents
it like
told him to come back alive.
Yeah.
And he said, "I did do that." Yeah, which that was actually the right thing. Come back alive.
And that's
Yeah.
I kind of thought that was because that was kind of a whole underlying theme of the movie too, was that in a way you kind of have to like choose to live or like choose to be happy, because he was so fucked up by the stuff that he had done and so plagued with self-hatred because of what he had done that he wouldn't allow himself to live.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then his overall story arc was redemption and basically how to become a man.
Yeah.
He became a man by adopting a wife and a child, basically.
Yeah.
and became, because he didn't want to be the father, but eventually he becomes the father.
Yeah, like he
That's part of
steps up to...
So he becomes a man. That's what the story arc is about. That's a great message. He took responsibility.
Yeah.
Doing his duty.
Yeah, that was kind of like really kind of the whole thing behind it. And like I said, he was a great character. All the acting in this was really good too. But I think like the mad scientist, well, he wasn't a mad scientist, but
It's kind of like the Egon.
he was like the Egon of this movie.
Yeah.
They just called him Doc.
Yeah.
And he was great. I loved him. He was the one that came up with... He had worked for the Navy during the war, like as a technical... Like he was a weapons... Did they say he was like a weapons designer or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. And so then after, like, when they have to fight Godzilla, he's the one that comes up with the plan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he comes up with this, like, really cool, like, elaborate plan.
Yeah, he's kind of like... he's homaging a lot of the mad, brilliant scientists from all the other monster movies, the Japanese monster movies. You're going to have some kind of mad scientist there. It's going to come up with some stuff.
And
kind of like Egon out of fucking...
From Ghostbusters.
Or the guy who plays the dude in fucking Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
What's that guy's name?
Yeah, I know who you're talking
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude. What's that actor's name?
Well, now I can't. Don't put me on the spot,
put you on the
because now I
spot.
can't remember.
You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I just can't think of his
Kind of
name.
the charismatic, kind of likable scientist. He's kind of got crazy hair, and he's, soft-spoken and nice guy, and he's going to come up with some brilliant ideas. And you have to listen to me, kind of a nerd type guy.
Yeah.
But he's right.
I mean, I always like that kind of character.
Yeah.
I always like when it's nerd power. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of nerd power.
Well, and another thing that I liked, and this also occurred to me while I was watching the movie, is I like that they had the mad scientist nerdy character who came with the plan and everything. I feel like in some older Godzilla movies that I've seen, they made that character almost like comic relief.
Yeah.
But this one they didn't. Like,
No.
yeah, he has like kind of, it's not crazy hair, but it's like, unusual hair,
He's got
I guess.
woofy hair.
Yeah, and he's just, and they kind of set him up like that, but he's not funny. Like, he's actually like a really honorable, like really good character.
Yeah, he's
Jeff Goldblum, thank you.
Goldblum.
I could not remember that
kinda
motherfucker.
like a
I could see
Goldblum.
his face, and I couldn't remember that motherfucker's name to save my life.
Yeah, there's a great
Brain cells are dying, kids.
there's a great scene where they have kind of like the traditional Godzilla scene where all the military leaders and the government and the scientist guys and the media are all coming together to figure out what they're going to do. It's like that, okay? And they're going, oh, fuck this. We don't want to do that, man. We'll all get killed. What kind of crazy plan? Well, scientist drops his nuts. He jumps on the damn mic and starts telling the plan. And he wins some of them over. Now, some other characters have to come in and convince the crowd, but that the mad scientist character really kind of shows his worth as kind of like a leader during that thing. That he steps up and shows how they're going to destroy it, how he plans to destroy Godzilla. And it'll work because I can't guarantee it.
Well, and
that was kind of cool about that.
I like that he's honest about that, because they're like,
yeah.
well, is this going to kill him? He's like, well, I can't guarantee that.
Yeah.
He's a scientist.
Right.
They know there's no 100% certainty. I liked that.
And the thing is, in an old Godzilla movie, he'd just slide and said yes. But
No,
in
this
new
one
one,
he's like,
they made him honest. He's like, I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. He's kind of like a Michio Kaku guy.
Yeah,
Like
a little bit.
Young Michio Kaku guy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
He did kind of remind me of that a little bit. But yeah.
It's a classic flick, man. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna own it.
It was like surprisingly good.
Yeah.
It was surprisingly good.
Yeah, and they leave it to where they let you know that another one's coming. And Toho did a good job on this one. As long as they hold the course, I'd like to see Mothra maybe. What happens if they go with Mothra?
I would like to see.
With this?
I would like to see a Mothra done in this kind of context. That would be cool, actually.
Who else could they
Mothra
do?
is always kind of my favorite of all the
Mothra.
Godzilla adjacent monsters.
And then you could have Mothra. What about Monster Zero?
Oh well, no, okay.
Where you have the aliens
I might like
show
that
up.
too. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Ghidorah.
Yeah.
Or whatever they call
King
it.
Ghidorah.
Yeah, King Ghidorah. Yeah, you could do that. You could have Godzilla come back, fight King Ghidorah. Yeah, you could have destroy all monsters eventually. Where they have them all there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one.
But you have to make it believable. It's got to be serious. See, and that's the challenge.
Because, like I said, this
serious.
one was serious as a heart attack. Like I
Yeah.
said, this was very grounded in reality.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything goofy about
No.
it. There wasn't anything. I mean, this was Godzilla was like terrifying in this.
Yeah, he's biting trains and shit.
Because you could imagine. Like I said, there was absolutely nothing funny about this at all. Because it's like if you saw this happen in real life, you're like, well, we're fucked.
Yeah, he blew up a whole city like an atomic bomb with his breath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just fucking, and then they showed like the
And it
aftermath,
was an atomic bomb.
and it killed like
Killed
30,000 people
Yeah.
or some shit like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so it was just kind of like absolutely nothing funny about this at all. It wasn't goofy. It wasn't. Because, like I said, I kind of feel like some of the Godzilla movies, even some of the Japanese ones, it's like, hey, look, he's stepping on miniatures, and it's like shit like that. But I'm like, he's stepping on actual real human beings, like. And this actually kind of shows the weight of that.
Yeah.
Like, of him actually, you can see him, like, fucking stepping on these terrified people.
Yeah, well, not only that, is that you had the damn news reporting crew, the radio crew. They introduced them kind of like their characters, and you get a feel for who this guy is. They show his ass down. Godzilla.
I was like, wow, they're either really brave or really stupid.
Yeah.
Like, if they're trying to bring everybody the latest Godzilla news.
Yeah.
Got their ass killed because of it. But you know what I mean.
Hey, he went down doing his job.
Yeah, and like I said, maybe, and I think that was kind of like a little microcosm of kind of like that was his duty.
Yeah.
He had to tell the public what was going on.
Yeah. Get the information out there.
And he just went down doing that. So good for him.
It's like they got it directly out of the damn Hindenburg transmission.
I think it was exactly. I think.
The humanity! Oh, the humanity! Yeah, yeah.
So for some reason, as usually happens when me and Tom are having a discussion about something, is that in the car on the way home, it occurred to me, I was like, there's got to be Godzilla porn, right?
Okay,
I was like, where Godzilla is just like knocking over Tokyo with his big giant dick or whatever. So I was like, so obviously when I get home, I'm gonna look up Godzilla porn. And I'm like, yep. I mean, I would have bet $1 million that there was, because there's porn of everything. But yep, there's lots of Godzilla porn. And I told him, and there's also an interesting little subgenre of porn of Godzilla raping King Kong.
Oh shit.
So
we just got demonetized.
These are fictional characters, YouTube. You know, I'm just saying, it's and it's all drawn, obviously. It's not fucking real. Although I'm sure there's some porn out there of people in suits. That would be funny. But I didn't see any of that. But I just saw like the drawn.
So this one gets a thumbs up from me and Jen. I'd recommend it. See it in the movie theater. If you haven't seen a movie lately and you want to have a good time, take somebody to go see this movie. It's worth it. You'll like it. If you like Jaws, if you like the good Godzilla movies, just monster movies, yeah, you'll like this one. It's good.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a good balance of like character drama with like some really awesome like monster destruction.
And I'm glad they didn't dub it. It's subtitled, so it sounds awesome. I mean, it's authentic. You can tell the acting's good.
Yeah, that dubbing drives me crazy.
Yeah.
The only time that dubbing doesn't really bother me is in Giallo movies, because I know that they just like dubbed all of those because they were just kind of like whatever.
There is no original language.
There's not really, because everybody just kind of spoke their own language and they're like, we'll just dub it over in lots of different languages and release them all over the world. But any other foreign movie, I always want to see in its original language. It's too distracting, knowing that that's not the person's voice.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It distracts me too much, and I can't concentrate.
And you can tell that they're being recorded in a studio. It doesn't sound like it's on location.
Right, that too.
That
too. Yeah, because you can always tell the difference between, because they even do this in all movies, but they do ADR where they add in lines in post production. Like it's like, oh well, we didn't get that on location, or we had to add some dialogue in or something like that, and they add it in later, and there's always a slight difference in the sound. Like you can always tell the difference. So I kind of feel like maybe that's what, like when movies are dubbed, it's like, yeah, that sounds like it's inside a studio and not like outside on a beach or wherever they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this one you can tell you get the sensation that they're out on the ocean in this little wooden damn boat the size of the Orca. What was the name of that? What was?
I think it was called the Orca.
I think it was called the Orca. Yeah.
Yeah, the boat in Jaws. Yeah.
Boat in Jaws.
The one that they're gonna need a bigger one.
But it was Japanese. It wasn't even painted.
It was just a wood. Well, they explain that it's a wooden boat because. Because Koichi goes to work on it because he's like, oh well, it's good money even though it's like super dangerous, and he goes there and it's this rickety ass wooden boat. And he's like, we're gonna go look for mines. He's like, oh well, it has to be wooden boat because the U.S. had magnetic mines, and if you had a metal ship, then the mines would be attracted to it and it'll blow up. So you have to have like a wooden one. So it looks like this little fucking rickety ass boat, and they're going out like scooping mines out of the water and like and then blowing them up like over there. But yeah. So if you want to go to the theater and see something really good, then this was really good. Yeah. I mean...
It's not going to be the same seeing it on a screen. On television.
Yeah, probably not. I kind of feel like this is definitely one that needs to be seen real big.
We sat up close. We were like third row back.
Yeah, we usually sit up in the third row. Because not a lot of people sit up there, that's why. Because I don't like sitting by people. Yeah. And we were there before. Do you remember you were saying like we were waiting for the movie to start, and you said, "Do you remember when that bitch came in here and tried to say that we were sitting in her seats?"
Yeah,
I don't even remember.
Seats.
Yeah. I don't even remember what movie that was. It was a long time ago. Yeah. But yeah, they have like AMC, probably other theater chains too. They all have assigned seat now. You buy the tickets, and then they're like, "Hey, where do you want to sit?" And then they tell you where your seat is, right?
She was just tripping.
She comes up with all these kids and she tries to Karen her way into the fucking seats. Yeah. Oh, these are my seats. I was like, no.
I said, no, I got receipts for it. And then she just walked away.
It's like, what the fuck are you trying to pull? Yeah. It's like there was other empty seats. Fuck off. Yeah. Like, what are you
trying to take our seats?
Yeah. Even though, like I said, there was lots of empty seats. I don't really know what her deal was. She just wanted to, like, drop her nuts, I guess.
Yeah. She didn't have any nuts, though. That's the problem. No nuts.
She wanted to drop her ovaries.
Yeah. Just a big old fat chick.
With a bunch
of kids.
Yeah.
Kind of a fat white trash type chick.
Yeah, like I said,
fuck out of here.
Trying to Karen her way into seats. I don't know what that was all about.
I slap a bitch. Get the fuck out of here. I got my receipt.
Yeah, it's
move. Yeah.
Yeah, you piss off.
Can you move? Those are my seats.
I think that's what she said.
I said nah.
I
got my receipt right here, and she.
Nah.
Didn't work, bitch.
Nice try.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? Sit on me if I say no? Okay. Yeah, no, I don't think so.
It's 2019. I'll slap a bitch.
Or whatever year it was.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't think it was that long ago, but yeah.
Yeah, it's probably 2021.
It's 2021. I'll slap a bitch. Yeah, exactly. Try to get my fucking theater seat when the whole fucking place is empty. God damn it. Yeah. It's like, go sit somewhere else. Or better yet, go home and watch the movie. How about that? With all of your little crotch fruit. All right. So I'm just saying. All right. So we're going to wrap this up. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we're doing the twofer like we did with The Haunting in Connecticut. Yeah. Last night we watched A Haunting in Georgia from 2002, I believe, and The Haunting in Connecticut 2, Ghosts of Georgia from 2013. So we're going to be talking about those, the Wyrick Haunting, which both of those are based on. So that should be pretty fun. Also today I finished writing up a video for my Scare Salon channel because I haven't posted anything on there for several weeks, and I thought it was about time. I did another, because if you've been watching my videos over there, like I do a series, like I'm doing my top 5 favorite horror movies from every year since I was born. So I'm on 1982 now. So hopefully in the next day or two I'll get that recorded and and edited and uploaded. So look out for that. And I'm also going to be doing at least one movie review this week, like a live stream. I'm not sure which movie I'm going to do yet. Might be the Limehouse Golem, or it might be The Signal and Await Further Instructions, like a double feature. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so thanks for dropping by and watching us on this surprise Sunday live stream talking about the new Godzilla movie. So we'll see you guys again tomorrow night. Good night.